The sky hung low and gray that morning, as if the clouds themselves were tired. Rain poured relentlessly over the city, turning streets into mirrors of sorrow and reflection. Outside a grand estate surrounded by sculpted hedges and stone fountains, a woman sat quietly beneath an old oak tree. She wore a worn gray uniform, faded from years of washing. Rain soaked her hair, clinging to her face and neck, while her hands shook as she tried to eat from a small plastic container. Rice, lentils, nothing more. The rain mixed with silent tears slipping down her cheeks, yet she didn't move. She didn't look for shelter. It was as if discomfort had become normal to her. From inside a black luxury car at the gate, Thomas Caldwell noticed her. Thomas was the owner of the estate, one of the most influential businessmen in the city. His name opened doors. His wealth built towers. But over time, success had dulled his awareness of the people around him. Employees blurred into the background of his life, nameless and unnoticed. But something about that woman sitting in the rain unsettled him. Her name was Elena Ruiz. She was the housekeeper. Quiet, punctual, invisible. He had never heard her complain, never seen her ask for anything. Yet there she was, shivering beneath a tree, eating as if she had nowhere else to belong. Thomas stepped out of the car, rain splashing against his polished shoes. He called out to her, but she didn't respond. When he came closer, she startled and quickly stood, trying to hide her lunch as if she'd done something wrong. "I'm sorry, sir," she whispered, eyes lowered. The way her hands trembled stayed with him long after he walked away. All day Thomas couldn't concentrate. Meetings blurred together. Phone calls went unanswered. The image of Elena eating in the rain replayed in his mind. That evening, during dinner, he asked a senior staff member about her. The man hesitated before answering. "She prefers to eat outside, sir. Says she doesn't want to disturb anyone." That explanation didn't sit right. The next day, just before lunch, Thomas followed her quietly. Elena walked across the garden carrying the same small lunchbox, wrapped carefully in plastic. The rain had stopped, but the ground was still damp. She sat beneath the same tree and ate slowly, as if every bite mattered. Thomas approached gently this time. "Elena," he said softly, "why don't you eat inside? There's plenty of space." She froze. Then her shoulders slumped. "I used to," she said quietly. "But once, some guests arrived early. They said my uniform smelled like cleaning soap and asked why staff were near the dining area. I didn't want to embarrass you again." Her words hit him harder than any business failure ever had. Thomas felt shame rise in his chest, not because he remembered the incident, but because he didn't. Over the following days, he began paying attention. Elena arrived hours early because she walked from a distant neighborhood. She worked nights cleaning office buildings and spent her days at the estate. Her husband had passed away years earlier, leaving her to raise her young daughter alone. Despite exhaustion, she was always kind. One afternoon, Thomas visited her neighborhood. Narrow streets. Aging homes. In a small house with cracked walls, he saw her daughter studying by a dim lamp. On the wall were drawings, a classroom, a graduation cap, and a woman in a cleaning uniform smiling proudly. That night, Thomas didn't sleep. He realized he had built a fortune but neglected compassion. The next morning, he called Elena into his office. She stood nervously, expecting criticism. Instead, he handed her an envelope. Inside was a full educational scholarship for her daughter and a promotion with a living wage. Elena broke down in tears. "I don't deserve this," she whispered. Thomas shook his head. "You deserve more than this," he said gently. "Just promise me one thing, you'll never eat in the rain again." The estate slowly changed. Smiles replaced silence. Names replaced titles. And Thomas learned something no business book had ever taught him. Success without empathy is just emptiness. Years later, when Elena's daughter graduated with honors, Thomas sat in the audience, applauding louder than anyone else. When Elena thanked him, he simply smiled. "You reminded me what real wealth is," he said. And sometimes that's all it takes. One moment of awareness, one act of kindness, to change a life forever.